I was watching the last episode of Invincible last night.
Yeah.
And Mark's getting his beat by this guy named Conquest, who was one of the Viltrumites, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, spoiler alert, hardcore for you, because I don't know where you're at.
I'm still in the first couple episodes. I actually started watching this one.
I mean, can I spoil this one part for you?
Go ahead. I'll still watch it.
There is a part where Mark basically goes ape poop, and he breaks his own wrist, punching this guy's metal arm and destroying it up to his forearm. And something happens with Eve, like she just got KO'd, like skewered, and like this guy put his knife fist through her freaking face.
Oh, shit.
Her brain is still intact. She's about to die. I'm assuming she's dead. And then this pink light, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because most characters are well designed enough so they have these limitations, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the limitations, the closest thing I can give to you to an example of her is Molecule Man. And adjacent to Molecule Man for the power color would be Gambit, because, he can only charge inorganic material. Okay, non-living or basically pre-processed dead materials, and charge it up to a certain degree of its kinetic, i.e. potential energy. Mm-hmm. And if you're unfamiliar with Molecule Man, this is a better example, but if you're familiar with Molecule Man, he can, any matter that exists, sentient, non-sentient, living, non-living, he can manipulate it on a molecular level. Yeah. So basically, she's Molecule Man with like Gambit's pink color flare.
Yeah.
Can
she change the molecules of herself?
It's funny that you say that, because I was like, oh, I never read this comic book. This is one of the few comic books I didn't read, and I don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Eve is dead. And so Mark is on the ropes. He's about gone. And she ends up, that pink light, turns out she had these power dampeners limiting her powers in her brain so that she couldn't affect sentient, specifically, that's her specification, living molecular structures. However, in times of extreme trauma, knife hand to the face, skewered guts pouring the fuck out of her, okay, she all but reanimates herself in that trauma, and those limiters were unlimited. And basically, she uses the rest of what energy she didn't use healing herself and doing that one giant blast at this guy Conquest. And then that was Mark's rallying cry, and he just goes ape poop, proverbially out of the park, sticks his remaining solid broken pinky fist through this guy's face. And by the end of the episode, they are setting it up in such a way that they expect Conquest to have survived this.
Really?
So that they can question him with a massive crater in his face just under his occipital lobe. I mean, anyway. Yeah, that's what I was up to before, or just after I clocked out. It's been a roller coaster. I mean, like, one more spoiler about the show? You want this one?
Sure.
Like, how everybody's doing the multiverse stuff?
Yeah.
Some villain, I'm not going to say who, gets all these other multiversal marks, these invincibles out, and, every invincible is not going to be the mark we know. Half of them are evil, half of them are twisted, a quarter of them's just like normal or some kind of weird something. Different environments, they were raised differently, things happen differently in the spectrum, whatever.
Yeah.
They get all pulled out and they make this deal with this guy. They get what they want in their universe and get sent back home if they help him kill our Mark. Long story short, some shit happens, stuff goes real, a handful of these marks are dealt with a judicious finality. And near the end of the episode, when we're in this big fight with Conquest, there's this guy doing experiments on them who can barely cut through their muscle fibers, inventing new tools as he goes so that he can take these corpses and make them into cyborg zombies.
Oh.
So cyborg zombie invincibles who are fully programmable and controllable in case Mark goes off the deep end, in case something beats Mark, and there's tons of Marks that can go after him at that point.
Yeah.
Like, this episode was just a wild roundhouse kick to the excitement zone of your brain.
Sounds like it. Shoot.
Like, it's like the first time you got sugar and it lights your brain up like heroin. Anyway, that was what I was up to. I had to get some happy to get over all the sad of the last HR visit.
Oh.
Same stuff, different day. I'm not going to get it.
Well, I remember last time that I think we talked about HR, you got in trouble with your jacket.
Yeah.
Because you weren't washing it enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like with what you were working on, I feel like it's a reasonable reason. I mean,
it is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. Que sera, or who gives a hell? I know they got soft shell po' boys in there.
I've been there. They're expensive though.
They are. They're very proud of what they got.
But they're also very good.
They're at least par. At least the last time I went there. Like, they meet the bar. They do not exceed it. For me.
I gotcha. I was trying to watch some stuff this weekend, and it just wouldn't. It was kind of just giving me the bird, be like, nope, we're not playing. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll fall back on my, my good old reliables and watch some Black Butler, and then.
Oh yeah.
What else did I watch?
I've been catching up on rewatching some old Naruto, specifically the 4th Shinobi War.
I still haven't watched Naruto.
I'm not going to judge you for that.
And then I got to deal with a lovely reoccurring issue of slow internet. You don't want to replace a part, so the part is dying, and I can tell you so many times that the part's dying, but if you don't want to replace it, I can't make you replace it.
Yeah.
And so we just unplugged it. And then that little part of the building just doesn't have Wi-Fi. And they're like, why is there no Wi-Fi? I'm like, you got a little bit of Wi-Fi, just not a great signal. And
you got what you paid for.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, it was a good access point, but I am still getting eaten up by gnats.
That's why I kept trying to. For me, it's just the toxins that they left on their last bites.
Yeah, no, that's why I keep wiping my nose, because I feel like I got one on my face, and then there's one that bit me like just a minute before we walked in.
Oh, the South. Aphids, gnats, and whatever chiggers are. I think it's just a pet name for people that don't know what the creature is.
I remember when I went camping when I was younger, one guy, he got lit up by them. They're like, they bore, if I'm not mistaken, they like kind of like bore into your skin like ticks, but then they eventually go away. But you can't just like take a lighter, burn a paper clip, and get rid of them. But you have to we have to put some medication on them.
Oh, I hate it.
But the left field. Oh, so yeah, the internet was just hog garbage, and
all the juice was coming out, huh?
Yeah.
Hot, fresh garbage juice.
Yeah, and then it was like, well, I mean, that was one problem on one building, and then the other problem on the other building is it was the people downloading personal effects from the internet.
You know what's funny about that? That they don't know any better? work resources for personal gain, improvement, or retrieval, technically the results of that belong to the company whose resources you're using if you're doing it on the clock. I learned that when I studied employment law for the first 100 times I went to HR. That's why I stopped learning to code on the clock. Or learning another language on the clock.
Oh, that makes sense.
Programming language on the clock.
But somebody was downloading like some family weekend that they had at somebody's house.
I knew it was pictures. I just knew it.
Well, no, it wasn't pictures. It was a video.
Oh, moving pictures. That's even worse.
Yeah, so it was just a big video, and I'm like, I called them up. I'm like, hey, what you doing? And they're like, I'm working on some stuff. I'm like, oh, really? I can see Facebook is downloading like a couple gigs to your computer, and normally I don't care, but
like, we're trying to work here. Come on.
The amount you're downloading is actually messing with the bandwidth because you're downloading a large file. Large files take precedent here, and so it tries to get it downloaded and done quickly. And just curious, what you downloaded? And because I mean, like the security cameras, they eat up the bandwidth. Just the day-to-day operations, that eats up the bandwidth, and then they're just wanting to download a giant couple-hour video of family.
2-hour video. Wow.
Yeah, it's just eating up the bandwidth. I'm like, can you do that like after work? I really don't care. Just not during clinic when it causes me more grief than clinic normally gives me.
Which is enough.
Yeah, so they're like, I'm sorry, am I gonna get in trouble? I don't care.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember those getting put up. I haven't been over this side of town in a minute.
I was over here less than 3 months ago, and that wasn't there.
Well, those things look like cookie cutter places.
Oh, my God. All but prefab.
Yeah, so.
Wow.
That looks nice.
It does. I think about that place a lot, but I'd hate to actually go in there and see what's happening.
But, yeah, so done with that. And so.
Brutal, dude.
People are people.
People are people. They really are. For good or ill. You know, there's no such thing as good people, bad people, and, you know, mankind does good or does evil. That's all there is to it. People are people. That's all it is. You know, I hate to make this sound like it's some kind of weird advertisement amongst chums, but you know that place, Marco's Pizza?
Yeah.
Like, that's one of 3 places who does one of, if not the best, pepperonis. Like, what is your top 3 pizza spots? Like, you know,
I'm gonna have to say Domino's.
I love their seasoning. I love their seasoning.
You know what? I'm gonna have to change. I'm gonna change it. That's number 2. Pizza Hut is number 1, and then that.
Pizza Hut's number 1 on deep dish for me.
But then that goes to my number 3. My number 3 might throw somebody off, but it's actually Little Caesars. But it's specifically the deep dish from Little Caesars.
Oh.
If I get anything else from Little Caesars, I'm like, okay, I'm expecting it to be like a work pizza party or something like that. But if it's the deep dish, I'm like, ooh.
Some of the square deep?
Yeah, the big square, the very thick one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I'll get excited about. But past that, that's kind of it. What about you?
I'll do it in reverse just for fun, because like Papa John's is not a pizza I will pay for. However, if it's around and it's free, I will eat it. I love Little Caesars for the price point, not for the crust. So they're going to be like right there. And plus, it's a 50-50 chance, if I get a deep dish there, that it's even cooked properly. Like, you know what I mean?
You got it undercooked?
Yeah. Like, they will bring me out one. I won't even check it, and I'll take it home. I'll take a bite into it, and half the dough feels like it's this cold, near tepid thing, and I'm thinking, oh, this is a lot of cheese, until I get this.
Oh, knock on wood, I'm glad I've never had that problem.
You know, I hate to put that in there. I hope that doesn't, affect what happens in your world or where you get yours from. And last but not least, in my absolute third from the worst, it's like any place that's mom and pop.
Really? You don't like mom and pop shops?
Mom and pop shops, I love for almost anything. Yet with pizza, everything is like, I don't know how to say it. It's too much over-processed crap, which, let's be honest, everything is over-processed.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just going to throw that out.
I mean, we've talked about that many a times.
And it's not enough. Like, they always make it so small.
Well, it's also like, it is enough, but it's so nasty.
Yeah. It's like the way they like it in their family home, and they thought, let's get a brick oven and make this official. And then all of a sudden they're too big for their britches, and they think they're going to get $12.99 for a small pizza.
I'm not gonna lie.
No.
I'm thinking about getting a brick, making my own little brick oven thing.
I don't blame you. I'm not making fun of your time in Italy.
Oh, I wasn't even talking about that. I was just, I like the homemade stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
plus it's more bonding with the family, or like, working with your hands, which makes you feel less, distended from what you're eating, you're sourcing your materials, all that. I like that. I just, even though the big box stores, everything comes either frozen or, what do you want to call it, canned?
Yeah.
Like, I still like the big box stores. I'll take it from the top instead of going from the bottom like I did, If I'm just talking strictly pepperoni pizza, and if I'm not even talking about deep dish specifically, okay, I'm going to bring it to the even higher height. If I'm talking thin crust pepperoni pizza, number one is a place that's gone. Even though its crust was terrible, the pepperoni perfection. It's because they would flour one piece of pepperoni and then overlap all the pepperonis on top of it in a giant Uzumaki spiral, so that every bite, no matter what you did, had pepperoni on it. And this place is closed now. It was called Puff Bellies, and no one thought it was a pizza place. They thought it was a vape shop.
I've never heard of that place.
That's the second thing I always hear. It's either, oh, that vape shop, or I've never heard of that place. Do you remember that movie place, the MGM spot, across from the IHOP? It used to be right next door to that. Not the IHOP, but the little set of buildings right next door to the movie place. But anyway, that's number one, just because of their pepperoni presentation. Not even a joke.
Okay.
Number two, this is a pseudo big box store. We got Marco's, the pepperoni magnifico, because they use two kinds of pepperoni. Little bitty old world pepperonis, and like regular, porn star nipple areola pepperonis.
Oh shit.
Like real pepperonis that we grew up with. And then three, which is always the most consistent, I love their seasonings, as I mentioned earlier. They usually put the most pepperoni on there than anybody, and that includes the pepperoni perfection from Puff Bellies, which doesn't exist anymore. Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
Yeah, and I'm talking all three of these specifically in thin crust.
If I go to a Pizza Hut pizza, I got to do the thin crust, and it's from childhood. It's from working at my first job. Like, I want a Pizza Hut thin crust, and I want it diced. Like, instead of the regular slice, I want
checkers. Yeah.
Is that what it's called, checkers?
Like, I guess diced, because it's little squares.
It's little squares, little triangles, random little cuts.
Oh, if I'm having more than two people eat on my pizza, I'm getting it cut that way. Yeah.
Oh no! Like, when I was there, if I get that, I want that, and I'll just go get the pepper packets, sling it all over the whole thing,
Yeah.
and I'll just take one little sliver, and that'll last me the rest of the day.
But hey, right behind this one.
Oh, I was gonna say you're pointing out one with 2 headlights, clear as day.
See how good I am at this?
I think you just got X-ray vision or something.
Yeah. I see beyond, sight beyond sight. Eye of Thundera. Thunder hose. Anyway, but no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Rhino.
That was the first time I experienced a thin crust pizza was like that from youth.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I look forward to. That's what I want.
If I'm being like a lazy binge and it's that pepperoni pizza that is thin crust, a little extra well done, if I might add, because that Triscuit cracker consistency of crust just gets me. Like I'll get it cut regular so I can just be like, fold, and I hear it go crunch, and as I bite into it, all that juices. Ugh, I don't even dab my pizzas anymore. I don't eat pizza a lot, but whatever.
I'm trying to think. When was the last time I had pizza?
I think it was when we were all visiting at one of the company things, and it was like, oh, you guys picked good pizza. Remember the thing with the dice?
Yeah. I remember that.
A couple years ago. Like,
that was fun.
It was.
But that, and then...
For me, anyway. I don't remember.
I had fun.
Yeah.
I had fun.
Oh.
What was it? You had me remembering something else.
Diced youth pizza, thin crust, crispy.
All I'm doing is remembering how much I'm hungry, but that's beside the point.
I kind of wish that weed store would get one of those signs where they can put up stuff like, daily special. They are fun.
That'd be funny.
It would be funny because it'd be honest.
You know what I wish there was more of, and there's really not. It's kind of like a dying art.
Ooh, please do tell.
Those guys that would hold the sign and dance and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the sign spinners.
Yeah, sign spinners. That
really is a dying art.
Because like sometimes people are horrible at it, but there's sometimes where it's like
someone was born for this.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, dude, I'd help pay for that for your playlist, or shit, I'd go just to help support you to keep doing your job.
Yeah, I will get the oil change there.
Yeah, like one time I saw one where the guy was literally having the arrow pointing, and he's just headbanging, and I'm like, rock on, but
that's good enough for me. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's bare minimum for me.
It really is. I was like, okay, hell yeah, because the guy had the hair and he's just going to town. I don't know what he's listening to, but he was rocking out. And then
he is being seen.
And then, like, later that year, down the road, what place was it? Oh, it was Little Caesars. Talking about pizza. They had a guy at the corner, and he was just breakdancing, just tearing it up. He wasn't even holding the sign. He actually literally like zip tied the sign to his side, and he's just dancing and breaking it down. I'm like,
oh wow,
oh man, now I want to go get Little Caesars so I can help make this guy stay in business.
Yeah. You know what? It's really disappointing. Like I brought up oil change earlier because that was all I could think. Oh my goodness, pickleball, really? The pickler? That's got to be what that is.
I'm looking forward to that.
What, the ice cream?
No, look at the end.
Oh, yeah.
The Adventurers Tavern. I'm curious what that's going to be. I mean, I have an idea what it is, but I'm hoping it's what I'm imagining.
It's going to be hopefully better than the Wayward Kraken.
I forgot about that place.
Everybody loved that place, but I went in there and I'm like, this is it?
It used to be really good to look at.
It was great to look at. I mean, it's... The Wayward Kraken to me was everyone's like cherry getting popped going into their first similar experience. Like, oh, we're all into these nerdy things, and there's a hodgepodge of every nerdy thing you can think of on the wall. There's a special Harry Potter themed introvert room that you can rent. You know, oh, we're playing Warhammer in the back because that's how we get to sell you more Warhammer because that stuff is so expensive. You know, they were dipping and dapping, but the problem was they didn't know what was happening. They were spread too thin. They wanted me to go buy their books when I can get all of them for PDFs on free line internet stuffs.
Yeah, but they can't just give you that.
They don't need to know how I got that. I didn't want their free books. I get the books for free for PDFs.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, technically, they could have like sold you a thumb drive, and the thumb drive accidentally have the PDFs on it.
I mean, that would have been brilliant of them to help out young up-and-coming people who couldn't afford to buy the books to play the games. And yet, they would just get drunk, drink up the profits, and be obnoxious. But no, I'm hoping that it's like somewhere between the Wayward Kraken and medieval times.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm hoping they find a healthy medium. But since it's called the Adventurer's Tavern, it sounds like it's specifically going to be geared towards fantasy-based or role-playing games.
I'm hoping yes, but I'm also hoping it'll be like a little bit of. I mean, I know we're speculating. I mean,
we are wildly speculating.
I would love it if it was like a giant guild hall, and it was just a bar.
I love your hopes and your dreams. I want them to be true for you and me.
But then, like, in the corner, it'd have, like, some random old video games.
That would be kind of cool. And now you got me thinking about it, just riffing off of your idea. I wish they had a furry in the corner trying to sell you trinkets and, like, tell you, like, secret things about the place for a price.
Like, legitimately a furry in the corner?
Yeah, like what would an NPC be in an RPG game,
okay.
or a role or a fantasy game? You know, that to me would be like the Khajiit selling their wares in Skyrim. You know, I loved that little detail. The Khajiit are from a place called Elsewhere, which, you know, is a funny way of spelling elsewhere. But however, I really hope that we don't let ourselves down if we ever go to that place.
Hopefully not.
No, yeah.
But, I mean, we can...
Hopefully they have a more focused practice than the ADD explosion inside of the Wayward Kraken, which they poorly handled.
Is it still open?
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking...
Oh, that sounded so condescending. I should be more mournful. No, I'm afraid they were... ill-equipped to handle volume, maintenance, and marketing, and sadly that was their death. They couldn't pump their own lifeblood. They drank it.
Oh. Sounds kind of worse, but makes sense.
Now they walk the night like living corpses, saying, "Remember when?" Nostalgia vampires. That's a bit rude.
It's okay.
Nothing personal to LB Wilson or that Canon Blue lady who should have gotten to cardio so she could be a model. She'd be a model if she'd do cardio. You know what? That's catty. I'm so glad that none of those people can hear the closed circuit surveillance of Umbrella Corporation.
I mean, I was just curious if the place was closed.
It is closed.
Okay. I kind of...
They failed to maintain their oath.
They're oath breakers?
I believe if they even took an oath, I believe the firmament of the walls themselves was an oath that they failed to uphold.
Okay.
And considering that there's a new building in there now,
oh, wow, they really gone with the wind.
Oh yeah, dude, they shut down years ago, and I mean plural. I feel like more than 5 years ago, but less.
I remember I went there one time. Yeah, I went there one time, and I had some buffalo chicken from them It was okay. It was okay.
It was passable. That was all their food, passable.
And I remember I got sick later, and I'm not going to blame the food. I'm going to blame motion sickness because it was the first time I did VR. So,
You're such a good man, and I will agree with you for the simple fact that their food was so par that there was no way that they could mishandle it to make you sick.
but yeah, no, I did that, and then I got sick, and then I was like, because it was definitely I was playing. I don't know what game I was playing. It was kind of cool. It was first time doing VR.
Oh.
And had the goggles on, and I had this thing that I was holding. It had a controller on one side and had another controller on the other side.
Kind of like a nunchuck?
It was inside of this like white triangle type thing. I'm thinking it was PlayStation. But I don't know the game or what it was, but what was cool and I thought was very interactive was when you're holding it and you pick it up, you can actually see down the barrel of the scope, and then you pull it down. And so you were able to just, pick it up, go. Pick it up, go. And
that got you sick, huh?
Because I didn't know how a buddy of mine was like, here, and I didn't know he started me from the beginning. So I'm like walking around looking at everything, like, surveilling everything, making sure that I'm not going to get anything. And I'm just making these giant sweeps and movements.
He got bored with the tutorial and passed it off onto you.
No, he had been playing, and I didn't realize that he started me fresh. So I'm just walking around looking, and he got me just past the tutorial where I didn't have to. He's like, press this button to shoot, this button to crouch. He just explained the button, so very cool. And so I thought I was a little ways into the game, and I thought I was at just like a little before a boss fight or something, because it was just really calm. And I'm just like looking around, and he goes, "You were moving so fluidly. It was like you're like really there, and then all of a sudden you started getting slower, and then it was like you didn't want to move." I was like, "Yeah, that was me feeling good, and then feeling ill, and then feeling iller, and then me wanting to go home, and then finally I was like, I'm going home." And I throw up in your front yard. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it was a very interesting game. I think it was in space. It wasn't Dead Space. I remember these little crab-looking things were running around, and I remember shooting a couple things. I got to shoot a couple things, killed a couple things, and then got past that, and then I paused it and I handed them. I took the goggles and everything off. I was like, I can't play anymore. I'm gonna throw up in your bedroom. And I feel like that was probably the most polite way to do that, because I feel like throwing up in somebody's little bedroom is kind of rude.
I mean, it would be if...
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I know, right? Opened up so you can see it. You don't even have to go in and pay anymore. That's what's up. I am cheap. Hey, if that was your first VR experience, I don't think that would have been rude. I think it would have been rude that he had not told you of some of the potential problems that came with it that would cause motion sickness to that degree. Or
well, he asked me, he goes, do you normally get it? I'm like, no, not normally. Well, I just so happened to get that one not normally time happened to me that night. And yeah, I went home, I laid down, I went to sleep, woke up the next day and I felt better.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you want to come over and try it again? I'm like, nope. Not so soon.
Yeah. Whoa, pump the brakes, Lex.
Yeah. And then he got rid of the game, and I was like, dude, I wanted to try it. And he goes, well, you offered it to me once. So, I don't know, maybe one day I'll figure out what that game was, and then I'll play it.
Well, I don't know, let me ask you this. Was it like you were on a planet, or were you in a spaceship?
You were on a planet. It looked like you were in...
Was it Venusian space?
I don't remember. This is like a couple years ago.
Okay.
This is actually more than a couple years ago. Probably closer to a decade.
Could you see the stars?
I didn't look up.
Okay.
I was too busy looking at the ground because I knew there was nothing above me.
Okay.
And he was like, watch out for the things on the walls. I was looking for the things on the wall.
On the walls?
Well, like on the...
So
it was like a ravine or something. Because like there's stuff... There's brick... There's not brick. There's stone on my left. I think there was a giant cliff face on my right. I don't remember. I'm pulling some of this stuff out of my ass. I think that's how it was. And I was just going. I was trying to have fun. And then I started feeling a little queasy. And then I was like, I don't feel too good, but I'm going to be a man and go through this. And then...
must be strong as the coursing river.
Right, and then the coursing river started bubbling up to my gut. I'm like, I'm going to call it a night.
Bubble guts, runny guts.
And then I was like, you know what? We're going to call it a night. We're going to have a good night.
I'm calling it.
Yep.
Let me get out of here.
Yep, and then it was... Yeah, I felt bad for doing that in his front yard.
No, he had it coming.
Well, he didn't... I don't know if he knows. It was like in his front yard, behind the trash can, to the side.
Oh, that's fine. You just left a little DNA in there to remember you by. It happens.
Probably the neighborhood dog ate it.
Oh, blessedly.
But, so yeah, that's what happened there.
That's what's up. I mean, I hate that for you. So that was after y'all had the wings that the way were cracking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's really hard to undercook wings, so it wasn't their fault. It was the VR. You're right.
I mean, I could be wrong. I can sleep at night being wrong.
Scientifically, I stand behind your statement.
Mm-hmm.
I've studied a lot of foodborne inconsistencies in cooking and specifics involving projectile vomit firsthand.
Yeah. I have not. I just felt upset. I was like, I'm going home.
For a second there, it looked like that guy was delivering a pizza.
I thought he had a chainsaw.
Nice.
I like how we're on totally different opposite ends of the spectrum of what we see.
Well, I mean,
I see a pizza. I see a chainsaw.
it harkened to me that there was a pizza discussion earlier and that you mentioned a chainsaw just now. It reminds me now. New season of Chainsaw Man's coming out pretty soon.
So that was one that I got fixed. And like I said earlier, as we discussed, my Plex was not wanting to play. So I tried to watch it. It was the correct episode. Unlike Inuyasha, I tried to watch it, and just like reincarnating as a slime, it'd play like a couple seconds, then it'd turn off, and I'm like, try again, reboot, nothing, fuck you.
Well, let me ask you this. We may have discussed this beforehand. Here lately, in my instance, I found a way to clear all the data caches of the web browser that I use to watch my streaming sites, so I haven't been using the Plex as much recently. However, getting back to the heart of the issue, is it based solely on, is it like Philo, LIFO? What is it? Is it whoever's on there at the time has the access until they're bumped off when someone else like logs in? What is that like? Is your system set up in such a way, or do you know because it's only one access?
No,
That's your system.
Well, I mean, no, it takes the file and reads it, so it can have multiple people read it.
The same file simultaneously?
Yeah, no, on a video file you can do that. If it was a Word document, that depends on how you're accessing it, but...
Oh, well, that takes all the guilt about using the Plex you let me off of.
No.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no, I can, if I want to, I was messing with it one time, and I found out I can look at some analytics to see how many people are streaming.
Military equipment.
Yep.
We did not authorize this.
And...
Oh, it's the U.S. government. Okay.
It's, I've had about 4 streams.
Wow, simultaneous.
And nobody was having a problem.
What
was funny is 2 of them were in the same house in 2 different rooms watching the same thing. And after I saw that, I was like, why don't you just... I walked in, I was like, in the living room, I'm like, you're watching the same thing in the bedroom.
There's a Badinka adjacent to us, but you can't see it unless you turn your head, and I only saw it in your rear view, so I'm not going to count it. So I have an honorary Dinka.
Okay.
Scout's honor.
All right. You weren't a scout, but I believe you. I don't know, you might have been a scout. Were you a scout?
I've eaten some brownies.
Okay, I don't know if that counts.
They never grow up to be super industrious women because their mothers sell the cookies. Isn't that sad?
So I went to one Girl Scout thing, and it blew me away of how different it is than Boy Scouts. Like, I know it's different, but the sheer magnitude of how different it is blew me away.
Oh, yeah. Girls, sell. Boys, make stuff.
Well, it really wasn't even that. It was more the Girl Scouts, a girl troop is like 7 or 8 girls. Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, it's like, here's like 30 guys.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, this is different. And then...
Well, less girls, want to wear uniforms early on.
Well, no, they all wanted to wear the little...
sashes.
What you call it?
The badges.
But it was more of just a, wow, there's so many... like when I walked in, there is this room, and it is full. It's a very big room, and it's full of kids, full of the parents, and they're all like, we want to be Girl Scouts. And then you're watching, and then they're like, okay, so this is the way it works. You're actually going to get into small groups, and that is going to be your troop. That is going to be your den. That is going to be your little group of people. And you get to keep the people or veto the people or whatever you want to do with the people.
What?
Yeah, and then it's like, we don't manage it. We just help you get it set up.
Oh my God, this feels like a pyramid scheme all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, no, it definitely did. Yeah, you know what, now that you say it, it definitely does.
Let's break you up into groups. All right, smaller groups. Now you all get to choose who stays in the group.
Yeah.
It's like Heathers, and it's like a pyramid scheme. It's like Mean Girls.
Ooh, I don't know why that reminded me. Not Mean Girls, but so when I was younger, I had a guy I went to school with and graduated with. And me and another guy, So me and a buddy of mine, we were hanging out, and another guy that I ain't seen in years.
He don't know how to drive because you saw he was the one pulled up beside. He chose that lane and he failed at life. Humans.
So he came over to hang out with us, and then when I got there, he was there. I was like, "Oh, how have you been?" Just trying to talk to him and catch up. And he goes, "Well, I'm coming to do a demo for a buddy for him." And then I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you mind if I sit in and just listen?" And so I haven't seen him in years. And he goes, "Yeah, sure, more the merrier." I'm like, "Okay." And he was all cool. And then he starts talking about what he's selling. He's selling some kind of pyramid scheme. And
supplements?
No, it was like, I really don't remember what he was selling. He was selling something.
Protein powder?
No, it wasn't like a physical thing. It was like, it was almost like a timeshare, but it wasn't a timeshare. But
that was the next thing I was gonna say.
But
penis enhancement.
Miracle for baldness. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was trying to sell something, and he hands us all this piece of paper. The piece of paper has some bar graphs, and it has some pie charts, and the legend doesn't really make any sense, and it's got some words on it there and some numbers, like dollar amounts, and I'm like, what is this?
A friend of yours, was it?
Yeah, no, it was I was better friends. Well, it definitely dropped down to an acquaintance. So we're talking, and he goes, "So what this is?" And he starts explaining it, and we're listening, and I'm listening, and I'm kind of zoned out because I'm not really like interested in this. I was just wanting to come hang out with him, and my buddy and his girlfriend at the time, his wife now, they're actively listening and they're engaging, and I'm listening a little bit in between snoring, and not trying to be rude to him. But anyway, he's trying to sell him this thing, and I'm listening a little bit, and the more he talks, the more I'm getting more interested in it, because I'm like, what are you selling?
I want this to be real for you.
Yeah. And then he's like, and then if you do this, you just buy this, and then people will have to pay you this much money for so long, and then after so long, this account becomes useless, and then...
Did he mention Xenu?
I don't remember.
I hope not.
But he was like, the account becomes useless, and then becomes null and void, but if you buy an account from somebody else that's wanting to get out of it, it'll be good for so long. And then I just asked a simple question. I was like, so what happens when that account becomes useless and you buy it from somebody else, and it's only got like 2 years, whatever he was talking about, it's got 2 years, and then you buy it for this much money, and it's only got this much money left on it. And he goes, oh, well, then you just have to deal with it and pay for it.
I don't,
And then I was like, what do you mean you got to deal with it and pay for it? He goes, well, you buy the thing, buy the account.
It's just slavery with extra steps, Rick.
And you pay for it, and then the people pay you, and you're not going to get all your money back. You get like a portion of it back. So
Nope.
I was like, that's kind of stupid. Why would I pay you for this and then pay other people for whatever I'm paying for?
Why are accounts only for a limited time only? That's creepy.
Yeah. And so I'm talking more, and I'm starting to really listening to him. And I was like, I've got a trust, and it's got this much money. And he goes, well, you should invest it over here. And I was like, why? Your numbers don't add up to make the profits that I've made on this account. And he goes, oh, well, then you're stupid. And then he starts talking all this, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I've heard this speech before. And then he's like talking, and I was like, I'm ignoring him, and now in my mind, I'm like, I know I've heard this speech before. Where have I heard this speech before? And he finishes talking, and then...
Going Ross?
No. He finishes talking, and then he starts talking about something else. And then in the middle of it, I had an epiphany. I was like, Wolf of Wall Street. And I was like, you just fucking quoted Wolf of Wall Street on me. And he goes, no, I didn't. YouTube says you're a liar. It was almost verbatim what he said. And he goes, well, I see this, that I'm just wasting my time here.
Yeah, so why are you doing it?
I was like, yeah, I thought we were just kind of hanging out and stuff. And then he goes, no, I was invited here to give a presentation and try to onboard him and see if y'all are interested in participating in this. And I'm like, well, obviously the ruling is out that I am not interested. And especially since you just quoted and insulted me to get out that I wasn't going to get on your profit, not profit, your product, I'm definitely going to say, fuck you and have a nice day.
He was trying to sell you a penny slot machine.
I mean, he could have been trying to sell me unicorn tears. I don't know what he was trying to sell.
Now, I would buy some unicorn tears.
But, yeah, so I don't remember how I went on that tangent, but yeah,
Ponzi scheme.
Oh, yes, umbrella schemes. It's a cult. That's another thing that's a cult.
Yeah. What's a cult without saying it's a cult? Ponzi schemes. Your crazy friend who's no longer your friend.
Yeah. Funny thing, after that, he unfriended me on Facebook and blocked me.
Oh, yeah, I've done that to a lot of people lately.
Well, it was just funny that after I called him out on that, he did that. I was like, oh, well, somebody's a child.
Hey, man.
I don't lose any sleep.
No, I don't blame you.
I didn't even realize he did it.
Did you go to high school with this gentleman?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I went to high school with him. We graduated the same class.
I wish I knew their name so I could avoid this person. I know this sort of thing happened so long ago, it's hard to remember.
Oh, you know what the main thing I remember about him? And it's not a flattering thing at all.
Ooh.
I remember going over to his house to help him go grab his Xbox to bring it over so we can hang out. And we went to his house. I didn't want to touch anything. I wanted to leave. I didn't want to look at anything because you know how there's wood roaches and then there's the infected house roaches?
Yeah.
He had the small little infected house roaches.
Ugh.
And like, he'd always tell me, he goes, yeah, I always have trouble breathing and stuff. Your house is a mess. There's roaches everywhere. Like, I'm not willing to touch anything. We're in his bedroom, and there's roaches, like, crawling on his bed. Inside, on top, around.
Oh, my God.
Everywhere. And I'm like,
oh, my skin.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I was like, I don't even know if I want you to bring your stuff to my house. And before I can even say anything,
because the electronics are hot, and they want to be in there, so they breed in there.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even think of that. So I picked it up. He brings it over to the house, and we're like, okay. And
your house is infested now.
No, it's not infested. But, like, we're playing, and I'm playing, buddy of mine's playing, and then I forgot his name. Anyway, he plugs in his Xbox. He plugs it in, and I'm over here sitting in my chair, and then all of a sudden I look over, and I just see, like, 2 roaches start crawling up my round. I'm like, I stop, I pause it, I grab a napkin, I go grab them, I throw them in the trash can. He goes, what are those? I was like, oh, they're roaches from your Xbox. He goes, I don't have bugs in my Xbox.
Like, motherfucker.
I was like, you got bugs in your Xbox. And then he started getting mad at me.
Because he was embarrassed.
No, he wasn't. It wasn't that. He was mad because while we were playing, the Xbox overheated and stopped working.
Because of all the...
And he was like, it's your electricity, because it's not a surge protector, you fried my Xbox.
Like,
I was like, no.
It's all the roach shit.
Yeah, and then when he, like, picks it up to, like, kind of shake it, roach droppings and pieces of roaches fall out. I'm like, that just fell in my room. And he goes, and now look, you broke it and pieces are falling out. No, those are parts of a bug. That's not parts of your system, that's a parts of a bug.
Oh. How old were you?
Still in high school.
Oh my God. He was trapped in a Ponzi scheme and in squalor. I mean, kudos to him for trying to get out from underneath it, but who the hell does this special person with a special betrayal circle in Dante's Inferno think he is?
I don't know, but yeah, so that's what we dealt with. And I was, like I said...
disgusting human.
Oh, yeah, no.
Well, it's not all his fault. His parents didn't raise him.
I've never met his parents. Never once met his parents, so I don't know if he even had parents. I mean, I know he had parents, but I've, like, never actually seen them.
Oh, my God. Naruto didn't even have, like, bugs in his house.
I thought that was the house.
I know. For a second there, I'd hoped it was. Oh,
yeah. Oh, but imagine how I
you're home. I know. That's what I'm feeling right now. It's for you. Oh, my whole body itches.
So, yeah, that's what I had to.
Listen, I've lived in squalor before, and like, hey, you know, you do what you got to do to get by, because you know, money.
Yeah, but I mean,
but then like not owning up to your shit.
Oh yeah. That, and then blaming people on the roaches in your box, in your toy, in your game system, and then saying it's my fault that your system fried.
Do you see why I'm a Sony man now?
Oh, yeah.
I'm being a total dick about Xbox right now. But still, no. That's funny. That's terrible. Oh, it's horrifying. Oh, my God, my pubes itch. Ugh. It's like my crabs are reactivated.
What?
Oh, they're all dormant. Yeah, they were never alive. They're all shells.
Oh.
They're in the giant pustules on my nutsack, so they haven't hatched yet. I'm joking.
Okay, I was about to be like,
I don't have syphilis or crabs. Come on.
I was about to be like, we've had some conversations, but I haven't.
I just had a mashup of 2 sexually transmitted horrors, and like you believed it for a second.
You know what? I'm kind of grossed out with the cockroaches right now, so I'm just kind of believing whatever right now.
Every follicle of skin and like the touching hair right now. And you know I'm a hairy dude, so it's everywhere. I've got to escape the skin. No, but seriously, that's just horrible.
Oh no, it was. I mean, I can still imagine the roaches crawling up the wall.
Did you ever know this person by initials? I hope not.
No, I didn't know. He didn't go by initials.
Oh, thank God.
He had a name, and
he had a whole horrible ass name, and we don't even know it.
Yeah, he had a full name, and I'm like, dude, why? He was cool. He was a cool guy when we were in school, but then he just kind of like, flipped the script, and then I was like, all right, and then
he couldn't sell drugs. It's so much more honest, and it would make perfect sense for having roaches everywhere.
No, he lived at home, and he had his parents, and I think he had a little brother, and when I went over there to pick up the stuff, the Xbox and stuff with him, and
you did not want to touch a thing.
Oh no, I didn't want to touch that.
Oh, I got it.
Single thing.
I've been in houses like that, and what's worse is like some of the first few times I ever got high with my friends way back in the day, which I know that's not what you're talking about or where you were going, but like I had friends who lived this is when I lived in a trailer that was falling apart, and we had a mouse that would come in, eat insulation, and die. We'd have the occasional roach or something, and it just felt horrible and icky. So we'd spray the place, we'd suck in all these terrible chemicals, we wouldn't get high enough, so then we'd go get drugs, right? I had friends who lived in partitioned shed communities where everything in this thing was hand built by my friend. And he wasn't the greatest craftsman yet, and you could tell. And everything was found materials. And his house was spotless.
Different folks, different strokes.
I know, right? And I felt so guilty when he came over to my house to smoke a J. And I'd opened up a drawer, and that's where I kept a bunch of clothes that I'd never worn, because he wasn't rich or poor. He was just, it was wet outside, and none of us wanted to sit in wet clothes, and I was just going to give him what I had, and I couldn't give him what I had because that dead roach had insulation. That dead rat had insulation in its mouth and choked to death and defecated on the clothes I was going to share with my friend. I've been that person and embarrassed, but we didn't have roach shit all up and down the walls, halls, corner bead, molding and all that shit.
I bumped into something and it fell over, and then a wave of them ran out. I'm like, those were probably 1,000 roaches right there.
Oh my Lord. Sweet baby Jesus and all the dead baby angels.
It was stuff like that. I bumped into, I touched one thing on accident, and that was the first thing there, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch that. And it disintegrated, and he goes, what are you talking about? And I look at it, and I was like, oh, it didn't disintegrate. That's all the roaches just running out. I'm like,
I remember my first apartment, we had, it was a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was 3 apartments partitioned in this one moderately sized house. And it is basically equated to me and my fiance had a bedroom. We were just starting out.
Yeah.
I had a living room, and the bathroom / closet was this shotgun shell of a room. You walk past the water heater, and which we covered with one of these standing mirrors, and then you have the counter. There's a locked door behind you, which no one ever uses, and it's blocked off from the outside world. Okay, I had a little shelf that I'd put up myself back on the other side right next to that door. And across from that is the counter, the sink, all that goodness. Right next to the sink is a little bitty space for the toilet paper, a little waste paper basket, and, the toilet. Right next to the toilet was the shower stall. This was the most eventful shower stall of my life, by the way. I'm just going to speed over that real quick.
Okay.
And then, there's this actual closet, a real closet-sized closet.
Okay.
And that was it. We had survived 3 other tenants before this horrible tenant situation shows up. We didn't know what that smell was until years later. And we didn't know where all these random creatures were coming from, crawling underneath our door. But we got our hairspray and we got our weed lighters, and every time one would come in, we would light them up. However, we both had full-time jobs. So there was times when we weren't out there. And do you know how we found out we were infested?
Scared to ask, but how?
We picked up this rocking chair that she had got from her great-grandmother. And I say rocking chair, you know, it's one of those comfy couches that has like the little platform, and it does a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, it swivels.
Yeah.
Well, we picked it up to move it one time, and there was like this shadow that didn't move. And I looked at it, and it was like kind of icky. Nothing moved, so I'm like, what the hell is this? So I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? So I, like a crazy person, because we're all drunk, but Inca, throw this chair over, and like you said, that thing disintegrated. The underneath of this chair, like soot sprites, but less cute, poured out of the base of the chair. She was the quick thinking one, and I was like a massive pansy about it. I was trying not to scream, but I made those sounds, right? She gets the fucking aqua velva, right? I got the lighter, and I said, burn, buddy, burn! I flicked the lighter on. All this hair was gone, by the way. And she sprays the aqua velvet, whoosh, and all you can hear is crackle, crackle, pop, pop. And every one of these things died a fiery hellfire of a death in my first apartment. And then we threw out her grandmother's chair.
Well, that's very sad.
And we never spoke of it again.
Oh, okay. I won't talk about it anymore.
And then the next time that we did anything remotely like it, I was like, hey, let's get some poisons. And then her face was like, it went like, haha, we're having a good time, we're both ADD. We don't pay attention to things mostly, to straight up like dead inside and serious, and then said, yes, let's go get some poison. And we were quiet the entire time we were in Walmart finishing up our supply run. And we didn't speak again until we got home, put everything away, set everything up, smoked a J, had a shot, looked at each other with eyes that said, I'm so fucking sorry. Because we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Until later on, we found out that the smell that we smelled from those people's apartment was a mixture of roach spray and meth.
Oh. I can only imagine how rancid that smells.
It's I wouldn't say rancid so much as acrid, chemically bitter. It smells like what you assume volcanic ash. Like when you see what it looks like, you know, that red billowy plume of near black. It smells like what you assume that would be like. Except for, you know, you throw in like a bug bomb and a can of Raid on top of it. It smells like something you've never smelled before, and when you smell it, you never forget that smell again. You know, scent being one of those strongest scent memory type things.
Yeah, it sounds almost like what Mr. Krabs said. That smelly smell that smells smelly.
Yes, that's so accurate. You never forget that. You never forget that. I wish we'd never stopped talking about pizza.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
We can talk about Deadpool.
Or the X-Men.
Okay.
Same diff.
Ooh. Versus. Movie Deadpool.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Comic book Deadpool.
God, but which one? So many. You know, read all the comics.
Which one are you feeling? Which one is like, if I say Deadpool to you, which one does your mind instantly go to?
I mean, just for the oversimplification, the sake of simplicity, we're going to go with 616 Deadpool. That's your main canon Deadpool, which the movie Deadpool is based off of.
Okay.
So we're saying verses, all right. All right, set up the scene here. Where are we going with this?
We're going. He's shit. What do they eat at the end of
Shawarma.
Shawarma? One of our Deadpools is eating the last shawarma.
Oh. All right, since you brought all this up, I'm assuming movie verse Deadpool ate the last shawarma on a table full of shawarma, and my 616 comic book canon Deadpool is like, we had to come here because you blew up the last chimichanga place, and you dare to eat the last shawarma in front of my face. And so I'm assuming combat ensues, all right?
Yeah.
So considering that we've seen a lot of stylized action from the movie verse, I'm just going to add cartoons to the movie verse because there's a lot of the good stuff there too.
Okay. Is there a dead body? Like, I'm curious. Do you think he would be able to pull out a dead body, or do you think? Because I know how usually violence is usually not far from Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
So, do you think there's already a dead body, or we just make more and then he's gonna just start beating them up and start dancing to old pop songs?
I mean, that's always possible. However, I will say that when you mentioned a dead body, the first thing I could think of was they were only eating shawarma because the other place got destroyed somehow, and the guilt of destroying the chimichanga place had them dragging the corpse of the owner of the shop around, like some of last poetic Shakespearean type stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to assume Movieverse Deadpool was sitting on that corpse, and since they had done that in the movies, your guy might have done all of that. However, since it was like a rando normie's corpse, it would mainly be a sloppy melee weapon for shock and awe.
I can see that.
And if that was where we're going for the first, visual aspect of this, considering that my Deadpool was being snippy and angry about having to eat a secondary choice instead of his beloved tacos, chimichangas, and let's just be honest, Tex-Mex food in general, he would have immediately pulled either, let's just say, a sidearm and a katana, gone straight to the acrobatic stuff, doing a swan-type rotating flip kick over the head of whoever this corpse was, slicing it in half, making your Deadpools much easier, Benica, and then landing behind him, taking out the back Achilles tendon of your guy, so that the maneuverability is much less. So he's toppled over by that half corpse that he's slinging around for shock and awe, spraying blood from a coagulating corpse everywhere but its intended target, which was my extremely nimble and agile Deadpool from the 616, who is both locked and swing loaded, shall we say.
Okay. And then I can imagine him yelling, "What the shit?"
Mm-hmm.
as he pushes himself back up and heals, and then I'm thinking
the movieverse does heal pretty quick from the small injuries, so I'll give you that.
So either I was gonna say if he
was one Achilles tendon. I didn't mention both.
So he probably doesn't have that many, so he's gonna start counting.
Yeah.
Doing a counting game.
Let's count them off.
Only thing I wish was, because of your Deadpool there, I would hope randomly the Count from Sesame Street would appear or manifest and start counting with them and laugh in between. Go 1, ha ha ha, 2, ha ha ha.
I feel like at this point the count would be narrating the shots like vivaciously as he would from Sesame Street.
And then, what the fuck is this? I don't know. Looks like a car shop.
I guess so. Weird.
Then after that, I'm gonna say he doesn't have a lot of weapons. It's not like yours where he's got the katana. He's got the.
Well, I'll correct you real quickly because let's just say canon to canon. Your guy has both of his katanas. He has the baby knife. He has the 2 push daggers, which no one ever sees him use except for in 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's got the 2 Desert Eagles specifically for 50 cal.
He's got the gold ones.
Well, he does now if he kept them, which I don't recall.
He isn't going to get rid of the gold ones.
I mean, I'd love to believe that. However, every conceptual movie's design had different katanas, different guns.
You're right.
You know?
But Icepool died so he could have the guns. I know he didn't, but we're going to say he did.
Let's give him that pathos and pray.
And then, Dogpool saved Wolverine so then he can get to make sure Deadpool got the guns.
For argument's sake, I'll allow it. I like it. I'll allow it. But you're right. My guy would have more weapons strapped. He has more pouches.
Yeah.
So he has more C4 on him, just off the top of my head.
Well, doesn't he have his Raphael-type weapons?
He would normally either have them on board or if he's carrying a duffel bag, which in this situation I didn't imagine. The size or jeet.
Mine's probably forgot his in the cab again.
Yeah, that's possible. And, considering that both the movies and in the comics, half of those pouches are extra rounds, extra clips, extra mags, what have you, wherewithal.
You figure after the first couple of movies, he'd have been like, let me go ahead and get a couple extra pouches so then I can carry extra.
Well, that was the problem with the movies conceptually. Like, they did that for price. Like, they couldn't afford to do more of this CGI action for the blood and gore and the beauty. That's why they only had 10 shots in the first, because each one of those Desert Eagles holds at least 10 shots. Don't they?
I thought it was 12 shots, and I think it's 6 rounds per gun.
I mean,
that's a big bullet.
It is a big bullet, you're right. And I always imagine extended clips with my boy D Pizzy. So let's just say, for argument's sake, 6. Well, let's round it out to 7, just for argument's sake. So you guys has 14s. My guy has at least 14s. Nope, I take that back. Your guy would have at least 35 because he has 2 spare mags on him. It's just they're not always so super easy to load.
Yeah, but remember how he reloaded in the middle of
that initial WVVS DP fight in DP3? Agreed.
Because he was able to reload and everything was awesome.
Yeah. Cinematically, it was beautiful. I don't know. I see your Deadpool as more of a beautiful show pony and a great idea where you can see more of the action movement. And I see my DP as more of a down and dirty, nitty gritty, less gay jokes and more preparedness, like Batman level prepared BS. I don't see your guy having a super good shot, but he does have a shot.
Okay.
I like Ryan Reynolds, and in 2002, when Cable and Deadpool came out, and one of the scenes you see in the comic, he's ripping off the mask. He's like, "What do you want from me?" Something to that effect. And he says, "I look like Ryan Reynolds mated with a Shar-Pei." And that's Fabian Nietzsche's doing. Easy Ace's doing. One of the original creators, because we're not going to count Rob Liefeld, who can't even draw feet. And that guy's a crackhead.
I can draw a stick figure.
You can draw just as well as Rob Liefeld.
Wow.
That was Rob Liefeld's appeal back in the 80s. Kids were seeing that crap and say, if this guy can do it, I can too. All I have to do is draw a foot, and I'm better than this guy. That's not a joke. That's IRL canon.
Oh, wow. All right, so let's see.
I don't know. Your guy has a chance. I don't see it happening.
I don't know, because then your guy had the sword that cancels out healing.
It just depends. Like, if you're talking about the sword, specifically Masamune, which had a brother and or sister, if you will, that was forged from a meteorite by Miyamoto Musashi at a certain point, which I'm probably mispronouncing the proper person who made that sword for Wolverine way back in the day. And I'm talking like near Edo period back in the day. Let's say the John Byrne type 80s run type crap, which time is irrelevant in the comics, then yes. However, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I saw that sword, Wolverine gave it to Cyclops and said, if I ever go rogue, you're the only person I trust to put me down. And then at some point, it got espionaged out from under both of them and ended up in... Do you know who Daken is?
Isn't Daken Wolverine's son?
He is one of Wolverine's remaining living sons, yes. He got those... well, you know who X-23 is with the two from the knuckles.
And the foot.
Yes. Now, Daken has pretty similarly, knuckles, but then he has a third.
Oh.
Now, that's the one. They got the Masamune when it got melted down, and when he went under the proper Weapon X procedure, he got that part grafted to him, and everything else was adamantium. I could be misremembering stuff. However, my Deadpool would not have that at the time. There could be plenty of opportunities in between all those cannons. However, I'm not going to do that to you. Your guy's already, basically like he's a running gay joke. It's not a bad thing. It's just, how should I say this? Sex doll. The Cable said it. Plus, giving your guy the credit, dubstep never dies.
Yeah, but I think, I'm not a big dubstep, so I'm gonna stick with what Cable said, but I'm still favoring my guy to win.
I mean, of course you are. I mean, I don't blame you. I will say this though: there was a point when Deadpool and Spider-Man had their own running series, and I forgot that it ran as long as it did. I think it was like 50-something episodes.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, issues. But there was a certain point where I don't know why. However, he ended up with a pair of pure carbon katanas. Yet again, I forget why, but one of the main reasons that he enjoyed them so much at the time was they were lighter weight.
Yeah.
Making him faster on the proverbial draw and movement.
Mm-hmm.
And he could go through a metal detector with them. Brandished. And they still wouldn't go off. Metal detectors, that is. I don't know. I still give it to my guy. 616. Like original MCU. Marvel Comics universe. This Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. I don't want to belittle your guy. I'm just saying. There was a reason why mine was first.
Okay.
Your guy's dead. Like that's all there is to it.
Okay.
It would be a fun fight.
I think it'd be fun. It'd be definitely interesting. I think it'd be more of a battle of silver tongues.
I would see that being the most crucial part of the battle.
I think whoever hurt the other one's feelings the most, which I think would be hilarious to see how they hurt each other's feelings.
Well, my problem with
that would cause them to stop for a second, be like, oh, and then be sad, pull, and then get their head knocked off and be like, I win, and then they just walk away.
My only problem with that is I see your Deadpool hurting his own feelings accidentally because he's more self-deprecating. My Deadpool is more happy-go-lucky.
You know what that makes me think? is the same as Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Because that was like the most crying I've ever seen a guy do is in those Spider-Man movies.
As a Superman movie or a superhero movie. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, is a superhero supposed to cry this much? I must have been watching the wrong ones if he's crying this many gallons of tears.
We were trying to get over hypermasculinity back then, and it just, it turned some people off, it turned some people on. I don't know what to say.
I don't know. We discovered a lot of things about people.
And ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, I want a Venom symbiote. The Venom's home planet, I forget what it's called, but their race is called Clintars. Just like the human race is called humans. There's no ethnicities or colors and nationalities. Race is the human race. It's one race for survival. I hate to get woke. Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, technically, you're right.
I was channeling your Deadpool. Sorry.
No, I mean, technically, you're not wrong because it's really your pigment of your environment. So we're
all shades of wheat. Yeah.
So you're variant.
Call it.
But shit, what was it?
It's getting nosy. I forgot your coin.
Which one? Oh, my good, bad, or
Your success. Failure coin.
and then my yes or no coin.
Yeah. Novel, indeed.
Oh, so what I was gonna say is the only thing that really
I apologize. I'm fiending.
one thing that it all boils down to is I gotta find a panda suit. I gotta find a panda suit, preferably a blow-up one, and then I can put a Deadpool outfit on it, so that I can be Pandapool. I know that is completely left field, but
I want that for you.
But I was just thinking about it. I'm like, I really need to put some effort in finding a giant panda suit.
I hope you feel seen and heard and loved. Because I cherish that. I can't wait for that for you.
I'm hoping.
I want to take the pictures.
If you do it, I'm hoping.
Unless it's a sex thing.
No, it's not a sex thing.
I mean, it's not that I'm not unattracted or attracted to your old lady. It's just that I know y'all aren't into swinging, and you're probably a little more generously hung, and then there'd just be this awkward situation. And I just want to take pictures of my friend, co-worker, whatever you want to call us. I know I'm overly familiar. I don't know. I want to get a picture of me hugging you in it. That's the tough part. I
was just wanting to recreate the scene of Deadpool versus Deadpool, where Deadpool's like,
I forgot you read that run.
What was it? We're not the shit.
It has been a long time.
We're not this team. We're not this team. We're the team with the panda, or something like that. And I just want to be like, I'm the panda.
I had that pop figure before I sold it.
You had a Pandapool?
Yeah.
I didn't know they made that.
It was not super limited or exclusive. However, it was not particularly easy to get my hands on.
Yeah. I think, and then too, I feel like that would go really good at a con.
I think it would do well. And no matter what con you go to, I remember, okay, I'm going to take you back and show my age a little bit.
All right.
Way back in 2000 and...
Wow, you're old.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to stop in the thousands. One of my first cons, I went to a booth, and there was you remember the Marvel Legends figures that all go for such money now? Some of them go for stupid money.
Yeah.
Some of them go for nothing. And now they're all $20 at Walmart because that's where they originally used to be at.
Mm-hmm.
On the shelves, they were $7.90.
Mm-hmm.
$7.95. $7.98. $7.97. Okay? I couldn't afford that Deadpool back then. Years later, when I saw it at a friend's booth, I thought it was the most ridiculously priced thing ever, and I just needed it anyway.
How much was the price?
$75.
It multiplied.
Yeah, exponentially. You know what it's worth today?
$7.98.
$250.
Oh shit.
Last I checked, and I say today, I relatively mean the last 14 years.
Oh.
So it could be less. It could be more. It could be 119. It could be 1,000.
It could be a penny.
I will not sell him. That was back when like every figure was moving from blister pack on card to holy crap, this whole thing is a blister pack and you get a comic book. And there's all this extra little stuff in here that like go in like the things and with the stuff. And it was a wonderful time to be alive. I mean, they still do these things now, but they're so overhyped and undervalued that it's like, hey, you get an extra sword. Hey, you get a reprint of a comic book that well, it's only a reprint of 3 pages, but you still get it. And this was the advent of the Build-A-Figure. Every one of these figures you would buy came in a series. And if you bought all the figures in the series, you had this giant figure.
I never did one of those.
I did. Wasn't worth it.
Like, there was a couple things that I looked at. I'm like, oh, they got the Build-A-Figure. And I'm like, do I really want to mess with that? Do I want to go down that rabbit hole?
I mean, you do, but as soon as you get there, you're like, what hell have I wrought on myself?
Then I'm like, I don't think it's worth it.
Here recently, going to Walmart and seeing what's out there.
Toys today are garbage.
Yeah, it's like...
Well, okay. Yes, toys today, unless you get, like, something that is a collector's level thing.
With over 80 points of articulation on purpose, yeah.
Yeah.
A $75 to $129 toy, yeah. Sorry, too experienced in this arena.
No, you're good. I fully understand it, because there's several toys that I've bought, and I'm like, oh, it came out. It was a remaster, basically a rebuild of it, and it's $75, and I missed it. And now that I missed it, now it's like $300, and I'm like, well,
yes,
it looks pretty on the internet. That's where I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah.
I've got the OG version, which costs just as much as that, maybe a little bit less.
Center and down, but ain't good.
Oh man, yeah, because like I've got several of my like old Power Ranger stuff that I've had since I was little.
Yeah.
And like I'm looking at them, I'm like, I have them, and I looked at them, and I'm looking at some of them, like, holy crap, this thing is $500. This thing is another $500. And then I'm looking at my shelf, and I'm just doing like just quick math. Oh, that's a couple thousand right there. That's almost $10,000 right there.
Like the best part of it is, wow, look at all the self-control I had as a young man.
Yeah.
The worst part of it is, it's so close to being razor thin, neck and neck, to be like, is it worth it to sell? Hell no.
Yeah. And then I get to torture my little brother and be like, hey, you remember that one Zord that you broke its arm off on? Guess how much it costs now? Guess how much it's worth with a broken arm? Nothing.
Nothing.
Am I going to still sell it? No. If I get the arm fixed, am I going to sell it? No. But I still want to just let you know it's worth nothing.
There's a guy I recommend you see.
But, well, before you recommend them, I don't have the arm, so I can't fix it.
Oh, never mind. If you had the shattered pieces, he's one of those guys. The only shitty thing about this dude is he's like, give me what you think it's worth. So you're like, well, this means everything to me. I can't give you everything.
Yeah.
And if you just throw him $20, you're like, I'm a shithole. So, like, no matter, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's a really great guy. Other than that, it makes him a shrewd businessman, but psychologically, that is uncool. However, he is very talented. He does immaculate work. He's even done a little sculpty work on a Lex Luthor figure and a repaint job to make it look like Deadpool for me.
Okay.
And considering the time he said he put into it, the amount of materials that it cost him, I was basically broke except for the $20 bill I had on me that I was saving for, let's be honest, I was going to get a gram of weed. And I was like, you know what? No devil's lettuce for me today. I'm going to pay my friend, acquaintance, friend, whatever. I don't know. He's a wonderful human being. Beautiful children, raised right, and all going in the great places that are going to be their futures. Horrible ex-wife, wonderful new wife. I'm pretty sure that one of his stepsons is going to marry one of his daughters, and they're going to make stepdaughter porn, stepsister porn, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, you can see it happening in real time. It's just...
What are you doing, step bro?
Like, she's just a young, adorable, oblivious little girl, tiny young thing, and he's young too. And he's not like a big old boy, but he's not a super small, thin young man either. He's just a young, thirsty gentleman. You can see it coming a mile away is all I can say.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you have an option if you had the pieces. I got the guy.
Yeah, well, I wish I had the pieces. I really don't know how he broke it, to be completely honest.
Did he not describe what he had done?
Well, this thing came out probably when he was like 5, 4.
Oh, so he was
He was being a kid.
Itty bitty kid, yeah.
Itty bitty kid, and it snapped, and then
being a kid, he tried to hide it, I'm assuming, or didn't notice what he did.
No, he knew what he did, and you can't really hide it because the arm is gone, and where I kept it was, like it was one of my newer toys. I was very proud of it. I put it front and center.
Point of place of pride, yes.
Yeah, and then I'm like, why is the arm off? That arm doesn't detach. And he goes, I broke it. I was like, how'd you break it? One. And then, what were you doing? And then, being a child, and you're like, I told you not to touch my stuff.
Yeah. Big brother action, Stay in my room!
Oh, we shared rooms, so I can't really say that. But
oh, that was like hell for you.
Oh, I mean, I grew up with him in my room, so it didn't bother me, but it was one of those, like, I put it up on the top shelf so he couldn't reach it.
Someone pulled it down for him.
Probably. My mom was probably like, it's no big deal, it's just a toy. And then he broke it, and then Mom was like, can we get another one? And I'm like, no, they don't make that one no more. And then she goes, oh.
How she didn't get you to throw it out from the stories that I've overheard.
Probably because of me, like, hot gluing it back into its socket.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, no, for a while I was, like, hot gluing it into its socket so it looked like it's still one good toy piece. And, so, yeah.
That's how you became an avid collector.
That's probably how I became an avid collector. I remember, I went to a buddy of mine after I graduated college. He got me interested in my first con. And when he got me interested, I was like, okay, I'll bite. And then I was like, because the year before he got to meet Jason David Frank, and I was like, I want to meet Jason David Frank. And
at the height of his popularity.
Yeah, no, this was definitely at the height. It was the height when he was like, meeting him was really good. Like, he was cool, but when I first met him compared to when I met him again when I got my brother to meet him, there was a difference. Like, me remembering was this way, and what happened and how it went down with my brother went a different way. I was kind of disappointed. And
before or after? Like the first or second?
So I met him a couple times. The first
time by yourself?
First time by myself, and he was cool. The second time I met him, he was cool. The third time is the one I brought my brother. I forgot why I couldn't bring him the second time. The second time I brought him, and he was cool, but
You could tell something was off.
Something was just like not the same, and I was like, okay, this kind of bums me out. I bought him like a meet and greet, and in the meet and greet said that you get to sign something, so I got him the White Ranger Saba sword.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, here you go. We did all this and met him. We got to talk to him, the one-on-one little chat. And then he's like, all right, I'll see y'all at the signing booth. And everybody in the room was like, what about the autograph? It came with an autograph. It said it on the thing. And then he's like, oh, we can't do that right now.
Bait and switch.
Yeah, and then so...
Y'all didn't even have like a meet and greet pass. It was like, here, by the way, you said that you would sign this when I paid for this.
Well, no, we didn't. We had the pass, that, the little barcode thing that you'd sign, and so we bring that and got to meet him. We did get a picture with him.
That's where it all began with y'all, huh?
No, we didn't get a picture with him. Didn't even get the picture. We got the meet and greet, but we didn't get like a photo with him or anything like that. So we had to go to his booth, get the photo, get the picture, and I was just like, hey, we did the meet and greet. It said this is what's going on. I told the guy, and he goes, oh yeah, they changed that last minute. I was like, all right, well, I'll pay for it just because it was my little brother's Christmas gift, and I wanted to get him this. And he goes, well, all right, it's this much. And then I pulled out my debit card, and he goes, it's cash only. And I was like, here's all the cash I got. It's like, I don't know, it was like $50. And I was like, he wanted to get the sword autographed and a photo with him. And I was like, that's all the money I got. Like, my wallet is empty. And he goes, all right, I got you. And the guy was cool. He got that happen, and he actually threw in a couple extras. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of cool with that. I'm not going to, bitch and moan about it.
Minus the rigmarole.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, that's what my first con got me into it. And I'm like, all right, let's do another con. Let's do another one. I got an itch. Let's do another one.
I got a fever.
Yeah. And then now I'm like, I haven't gone to a con in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's like the tattoo itch, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, technically, I haven't been to a con in a year now. So, a little bit of an itch. I'm like, it'll be okay. I'm going to be okay.
Oh, I haven't been to a con in 3 years now. I've been, I don't even know how to say it.
It hurts.
Samples.
Sounds painful.
It is. You got to bury yourself in the samples.
Scrape out some joy from this life.
But no, yeah. Same thing with tattoos, I got a whole quarter of a body thing I want to do. It's a whole thing. No. Save up my money for the apocalypse that's coming.
I still have virgin skin.
You're a unicorn that way. Not bad.
I've heard that before.
Not bad. I'm trying to think. The convention before last that I went to, I ate ramen noodles for a year to save up almost $2,000 to literally blow at this convention. I ended up spending about $1,500 of it on random assorted drugs and alcohols for the pregame and during the game and the post-game. And then I ended up spending, I think it was approximately $500 at the con. $250 worth of it went directly to a man named Doug Sneed, who used to do Playboy comics. He was the dude that did the funny pages in Playboy. Got him to do an original Deadpool piece.
Nice.
It was a Playboy bunny laughing at his junk. He was so old and frail. He really didn't understand the instructions, so I was just like, let's roll with it. I'm just glad to have some shaky pencil work by this guy. Best $250 I ever spent.
Maybe one day I'll get some custom art done. One day.
Yeah. That's the thing I miss from conventions. Not even conventions, just little events that used to be all over these areas. Like, there used to be this competitive spirit out here in this Gulf South region where there was these two comic book stores where one would go all out and charge nobody anything, and then the creators would come out, have a good time, and with all the money that everybody made, they go out and throw it into the community, you know, if you know what I mean. Glug, glug, glug. Nom, nom, nom. And, like, the other place would be like, well, I don't like that they're getting all this talent. They know all these people. And they would up their game every year. So it was like this comic combat, you know?
Comic combat. I like that.
It was beautiful.
Sounds it.
That's what it was all about for me. But yeah. A lot of these guys, like, they're so established that they'll have prices like, oh, you want this character's head? It's, you know, $20. You want this character's bust and or torso? You know, that's $30-$40, you know. You want a whole body, that's about $70 to $125. You want two people, it's double, you know, they have these rates.
Yeah.
And when you sit there and see the work of the artist that you really enjoy do it, at first it's like, wow, this guy's doing this so deftly because he's been doing this for years.
Mm-hmm.
So quickly because he's got his system down pat. And then, like, within 30 seconds to 10 minutes, you're like, I just dropped $150 on this. You know?
Well, that makes sense.
It's the whole point that you go out and schmooze for, because then they like you, and then they like, oh, you can get me the drugs or the drink? I'll get you this for free. Oh, good times.
Oh, yeah, always.